I didn't get a little excited. I got very excited. When we got that first check in, it was, hey, Ricky, we got our first check in. We got this. He's like, yeah. And I go, yeah, we're very excited because it works. It's not a scam. And it just goes to show this is the first step of many steps yet to come.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Student Success Chronicle. Today, I just finished talking with Thomas and his son Ricky, and as you watch this video, I want you to pay close attention to how they talk about themselves and the mindsets, but also about each other. This is a father that spent a whole career in the finance and banking world who decided to leave and start his own business investing, got into tax liens, and his son, who's on the complete other end of the journey, who's 19 years old, entering college and realizing that maybe a job isn't for him. So listen to how they talk about their mindsets and their confidence and the risks and the challenges and the stresses that exist in both sides of the world, both the traditional work for somebody else and also the investing side. Their journey is incredible. If you have a kid that you're thinking about bringing along in a financial journey, this video is gonna be enlightening and exciting for you. If you're entering that other side, if you're 19, 20, 21, 18 years old, and you're thinking about trying to pull your parents along with you, and you want to show your parents how to invest, show them this video. Both sides of the spectrum are gonna enjoy this conversation. Here you go, here's Thomas and Ricky. Welcome, Thomas and Ricky. So excited to have you have you here with me today. It's been such a great journey for me, I guess just over the last month, 2 months since I first met you at the expo. And I appreciated the interactions, and there's so many things that I've replayed in my head from that expo where we first met. But I want to hear your story first.
I first got introduced to tax liens when I thought of an alternate way to bring in an income. And I thought, because I like numbers and I like investing, and it was like, okay, well, what can I do that I'm going to have fun with? Because it's one thing to work, but it's another thing to have fun with. And so I got exposed to tax lien, and I did this about 8 years ago with you guys. And then I did some tax liens, and then things dropped off for whatever reason. And now we're getting back into it. I saw the opportunity, and I thought, I want to get back into this. But then I was talking to Ricky, and he wants to get into real estate. And I said, well, you know what? This would be an ideal ploy for you to jump into, especially at your young age. And I was thinking, man, if I could have started at his age, wow, right? But anyway, that's kind of how we got into it, and Ricky took interest into it. I think he liked the interest in it because we were going to do some traveling as well. And he thought, I get to travel. I've never been to Kansas City. I've never, And so that was kind of fun to it. But yeah, we started jumping into it, and we saw the investment that it was going to take. And I believe you get out of what you put into it. And so we're putting everything we have into it, and interest and everything. So yeah, that's kind of how we got into it. And I'm bringing him along, and he's loving it, unfortunately.
Did you say, unfortunately, he's loving it?
Well, I thought I was going to have to really coax him along and prod him and push him, and quite the opposite. It's like he's pulling me along, and he's he's tech savvy, and I'm not, so there's a good balance there. I don't know if you want to call it balance, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of in a short nutshell. That's how we got into it.
Okay, so Ricky, I want your side of the story, but before your side of the story, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19. Well, okay. So, Thomas, I'm not going to ask how old you are. This is your son, though, and there's going to be so many people watching this thinking, man, I wish I would have started when I was 19. I wish I would have started when I was 19. I started investing in real estate in my mid-early 20s, but I wish I would have started with tax liens at 19. Anyway, we'll talk about the explosion later. But Ricky, tell me about why you're excited and why you're dragging your dad along.
So I kind of used to always want to do engineering, and I was more interested in that. But somewhere along the line, my interest kind of shifted, and real estate started to interest me more. So I decided that, that's kind of what I want to study. And then my dad brought this idea along and said, do you want to go to this class with me? So we went to this class, and it was awesome. I learned a lot of new things that you wouldn't even think about, and I saw it as a great opportunity, and I really want to see it through.
Well, I hope you appreciate your father. We're a day after Father's Day, and so I certainly hope you appreciate your father for, at 19 years old, exposing you to something that most people just frankly don't even know about. It was 15 plus years for me investing in real estate before I discovered tax liens and the power of tax liens. I certainly, just at 19 years old, being able to experience that is incredible. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your investing journey so far. You bought some tax liens, I imagine.
Yeah, a little under 20.
Okay, that's incredible. What was that first one like? Take me through the very first tax lien that you bought.
It was a tough grasp for me. He jumped right on it, and he just, oh yeah, we go here. Oh wait, do this. He was right on top of it, and I guess that helps being young. But yeah, it was tough for me, but we did it, and it was very exciting in that respect.
We were at the tax lien entry. Which class was it?
The entry class it was held at Long Beach.
Yeah, the 2-hour class, is that one you're talking about?
I think it was, it was longer than that, wasn't it?
No, it was a couple days.
It was a 2-day class down in Long Beach.
Was it the 3-day workshop or was it the 2-day foundation?
2-day foundation.
2-day foundation, yeah.
Yeah, it was your very first tax lien, I imagine.
Yeah.
So what was tough about it, Thomas?
Well, being a little older,
okay,
which is still great. I look to do this till I die, to be honest with you, because it's so much fun. But it was just getting all the, what websites to go to, what to look for, where to click to do this, where to do that, and but it was good. Anybody can do it if you just open your ears and listen, and that's what I was able to do. But he just jumped right on it, and so
yeah, okay. Ricky, tell me about the first one. I'm guessing you did most of the finger work.
I did, yeah. So it was kind of fun having to navigate the website and choose the county and all that fun stuff. And going through them, there was a lot of it was like land deals in Florida, and you wouldn't think that it's very valuable per se, or that all these people own this land. So it was kind of weird going through them and trying to pick the right one per se. But what was really interesting is you don't really have to look into it that deep, and it's land, and people want to own their land, so they're gonna most likely pay it back. So it was cool to see how these pieces of land that you wouldn't think someone cares too much about are really a good investment.
What interest rate did you buy them all at?
18%, because I believe these were all over the counter.
Okay, cool. Now, Thomas, what were you investing in before tax liens? Obviously, you're diverting some capital from something else into tax liens. What was it invested in before?
It was real estate. I've had rental properties, for example. But those have their problems as well. It's not all glory. It's sometimes it's like, the tenant's not paying, or the tenant left, and then you have to go in and redo the floors, repaint, all this, a lot of maintenance in that respect. So it was real estate property, and I did some investing in the stock market. But the stock market goes up and it goes down, and goes up and it goes down, and the down rides are terrible. But yeah.
There was a point in my career where I was all in on rentals. There's this belief, or this chase in the investment world of passive income, and we all want it, right? We all want that passivity. We want to be able to relax. We want to travel. We want a vacation. We want to spend time with our kid. Whatever that ultimate goal is, and passive income is the thing that gets us there. And so the easy way, or the thing that everybody always talks about, you watch TV, you watch too much TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, and they're going to talk about some type of rental property bringing you passive income. And I was all in on that. I have rentals today. I still do them, but it's for a very different reason, because I do it for the tax benefits. And so offsetting some of the revenue from other investments, rental properties are for that. But it's not passive. And that's what that's the feeling that you had owning rental properties.
Correct. Yeah, and it was a different philosophy back then, and my philosophy now going forward is more what they're teaching us at Tax Lien. So I have a different approach to it altogether, and a different feeling about it as well. So yeah, you're right.
What's your approach now?
But now my approach is I can buy and hold maybe for a year or two and then sell. Take the appreciation and then roll it into something else. Whereas before it was just buy and hold and go, okay, this is going to be my nest egg for when I retire. And like, wait a minute, stop with that thought. We can make more money by, I use the word flipping it, but maybe flipping is not the right word, but buy and sell.
Yeah, so one of the things that we talk a lot about is those 1031 exchanges, which is exactly what you're talking about. So many times we get half of the education. This is what you're saying, is you're going to hold it forever and you're going to enjoy the cash flow that comes. But that cash flow, when we actually do the cash flow math, when we look at our ROI on those type of properties, it's actually not very good for people that hold the property for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, because that equity that's building, you have to capitalize that in, or you have to factor that in and realize that I have increased, the appreciation has increased the value of that property, and I'm not getting an 8% or a 6% or a 7, whatever that return that I calculated at the beginning. I'm getting a 3% return now. So you're now discovering one of the biggest tax benefits that we have in investing is that 1031 exchange.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. That's precisely. Yep.
Well, good. All right, Ricky. At 19 years old, I having a 19-year-old son myself, the world is your oyster. What is your ultimate goal?
Honestly, just have financial freedom and be able to go on vacation and make money while on vacation, as put. And also, I've never imagined myself in my future working a 9 to 5. So passive income like these tax liens and just investing in general has really been the key goal that I've been looking to strive for, and be able to have generational wealth for my family in the future, and also my family now. I'd like to show them what anybody can do.
You're kind of, it's incredible. I love bringing in the young generation. I feel like there's a major shift going on right now in our society in terms of education and employment and being an entrepreneur. For so long, for so many generations, the idea was, good grades in high school, good university, good education there, and then you parlay that into 40 years at a job. You retire with your gold Rolex watch at 65 years old, and that was the pathway to success. Right, Thomas? Like that's probably how you were raised. It's how I was raised.
That's the old school way. You're right.
That is. And now it feels, I try not to spend a ton of time on social media, but it feels like there's enough wave right now pushing this idea that maybe there's a different way. And Ricky, I applaud you for being 19 years old and realizing it, because most of the people that come through our classes have ridden the traditional method that Thomas and I were taught, of going to college, get a good job, and then just stay at that employer for 20, 30, 40 years and earn your retirement. What was it at the beginning? I mean, you're 19 years old. What was it that led you to believe that, okay, and have the confidence to realize I'm not good for a 9 to 5. Like, that's not in my bones, being a 9 to 5er. What built that confidence in you?
I want to say watching YouTube videos in class in high school. I would watch like financial freedom videos and investing videos and just things about money.
Okay.
And it kind of got that switch to click and got my brain thinking in a different way. And as for the 9 to 5, I it feels like such a waste of time and your life going through 5 days a week and spending your whole day, almost all the daylight hours. So it just doesn't make sense.
I love that. We give the best time of our days and the best years of our lives to an employer instead of to ourselves. And so you're building something for yourself and taking advantage of a society and an opportunity that probably didn't exist when Thomas was growing up, right? There was no social media, there was no YouTube. It's not like he could have put his headphones on during high school and watch YouTube videos about financial freedom that didn't exist.
Right.
What does your day look like now, though? So you're not working, or do you have it? You're in college still, is that right?
I am.
Okay.
I currently intern at a real estate company.
Okay.
So currently, I go to that, and that is kind of like a 9 to 5, but it's investing in my education.
Sure.
So I go to that in the morning, and I'll come home. Sometimes my dad and I will do Zoom calls with people. That's later in the evening, or we'll just work on whatever we need to.
That's and you're studying real estate in college, is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I can't wait, Ricky, to see where you end up just in a couple years. Now, Thomas, some loaded questions for you. What led you to this point? What led you to the point in your life where you did the traditional, you did the thing that everybody taught us to do? What was the tipping point for you where you thought, you know what, I want to, or I need to do something different, and I'm going to pull my 19-year-old son along with me?
Well, it was a combination. I did the corporate. I was in banking, finance for close to 30 years, for example, and then when I was married, my father-in-law was in aerospace, and he worked all his life, and then he retired, and then within the next 2 years, he had a heart attack and died. And I'm looking at that going, I'm not going to work my whole life, then retire, then have a heart attack and die. What the heck? What kind of life is that? And so God has a way of bringing things into our lives, and he brought a change to me, and he said, it's time for you to change. And so I changed the 9 to 5 and started building my own business, creating my own hours, creating my own future, and taking that stress off my shoulders to where now I'm responsible for my own income, which is great, but it took the stress off. And because stress is the big killer of most men, especially women too nowadays, though, because they're getting in the work field. But it was just time for a life change, and I think change is good in a lot of reasons. The old days have changed to the new days, and if you don't adapt to the change, you get left way behind. And I want to be ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. It was that, and it's been a blessing, and then I saw the benefits of it for Ricky, and he was smart enough to say, "Oh, Dad, yeah, I see it," and he's doing some things in his life that are going to make his life better, and that's my focus for him. Is I want him to have a better life than what I've had. So trying to show him. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to do tax returns until I die, because you can do these things till you die, and no stress. Do it at your own pace. Do as many as you want or as little as you want, and create that additional income. Because when we get out of that corporate world, the world out there is tough on you. They don't want to hire you in a 9 to 5 job at all, even though you got all this education and experience. They don't want to hire you. So what do? You create your own business. Wow, what a wealth that is. And so. Tax Lien has been just a huge blessing, because you guys show us how to do it. You show us how to structure your business. You guys, A to Z, you've got it there. And anybody who doesn't take 2 brain cells to figure out this is going to work, and it does work. If you look at all the success that we've seen with Tax Lien, it's just incredible. So too bad for the rest of the world, they don't jump in on this.
Well, tell me about so much of what I see and I hear from students that are just starting and my family and friends and my circle that talk about being an entrepreneur is stressful. Being an investor is stressful. That leaving the 9 to 5 is scary and it's stressful because the 9 to 5 feels safe. The 9 to 5 feels secure. The 9 to 5 feels like there is no stress. And what you're saying is completely opposite of what everybody else, I don't want to say what everybody else says. And you've now been on both sides. You worked in corporate America in banking and finance, and then you've moved now to being an entrepreneur, being an investor. Like, compare the stresses.
Oh gosh, there is no comparison. Being in the 9 to 5, there is so much more stress. If you don't see the stress in the 9 to 5, you're clueless. Building your own business, I don't think is stressful. It's very educational. It's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling because it's all on you. And is that stressful? If you're not capable physically and mentally, then you're right. It's stressful. But for those of us who have 2 or 3 brain cells and we can put those together and create our own business, oh my gosh, it creates a new world for you altogether. I mean, how many people do you know are 9 to 5 millionaires? Zero, right?
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
The millionaires, billionaires nowadays, they're the ones that have created their own business and multiple businesses as well. And so, it's all in perspective on what you think you can do and what you can't do. If you think you can't do it, you won't do it. If you think you can do it, you can do it. You just got to put your mind to it, though, and that dedication to it and go, I can do this. You can reach out to people to get help. At Tax Lien, there's all kinds of people that'll help you with it as well. So it's like, man, if everybody's willing to help me, why can't I do this? It's a walk in the park. You just got to open up to it and do it. Because, the 9 to 5 is very narrow-minded, and this is 9 to 5, and this is how it's going to be. And but doing your own business, it's like, wow, like Ricky said. And I've heard in Tax Lien, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to make money while I'm on vacation. Hello, that's huge. But most of America doesn't know that. They're geared to the 9 to 5, get a job, pay the government taxes as much as taxes they'll burden on you, and that's life. No, there's different forms of life. So anyway, I don't know if that answers your question or not.
That's a great answer. I want to flip and ask Ricky something, maybe a pat on Dad's back. Ricky, Thomas mentioned old school versus new school, and buying into this new school way of thinking, and being willing to shift from an old school philosophy into a new school philosophy. What do you think it is about your dad that allows him to shift from old school to new school? I think there's so many people that, like, old dog, new tricks. You've heard that saying before, right? Your dad, I'm not calling you old, Thomas, but what is it? What have you seen in your dad? Has that always been a personality that he has, that he's willing to learn new skills and think in a different mindset? Or was this a big swing or big shift for him?
I would say it was a pretty big shift, and it was definitely more difficult, I would say. But I think because he always has to be doing something and has to keep himself busy, that kind of trait helps him along as he needed to learn something new. So he was always doing something, keeping himself busy, and was able to kind of shift that mindset.
I hear a lot of things from the way you're talking. One of the things that I hear is there's a lot of confidence in you. So I'm curious where the confidence came from, but also what enabled you to make that shift from what you're calling old school to new school when so many people resist that change?
Well, that's why there are winners and losers in life. The losers, they resist it. So, what is it? Winners never quit and quitters never win.
Ooh.
And so you have to be, how do you win in life at whatever? If you're an athlete, if someone's in front of you, do you quit? No, you try harder. And so you got to be willing to make changes, because if you don't make changes, if if you're doing something and it's called insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results. If you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over, but you want results, you need to change something to get better and different results. So I saw that earlier in life and said, I need to make some changes. I may not like them. They may be hard. They may be difficult. But you know what? I need to make some changes because what I'm doing is not working to where I want to go. So I made changes, and I made some that didn't work out well for me and then some that did. And the tax liens is something that's working out good for me. It builds my confidence even more so. When you start seeing a few successes, you do your first tax liens and you get that check in the mail, you're like, woohoo, this is working, and so, what's the limit? There is no limit. So guess what? The world's your oyster, but you have to choose it. It's not going to come to you. You have to go to it. So, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I love that. Your phrase of you have to choose it. That's such a hard choice for so many people. But I want you to tell me about that first check when it came in the mail, because you're not new to investing. You're not new to finance. You're not new to checks in the mail. I mean, you've been in banking and financing forever. You see money come in. You see money go out. You've owned rentals. You've had stocks. So it's not like you've never gotten a dividend check. It's not like you've never gotten a rental check. But you got pretty excited when that first tax lien check came in.
No, actually, I got very excited. I didn't get a little excited. I got very excited. Why? Because it wasn't, tax lien is not a scam, and people are like, oh, we had a family relative when we said, hey, we're looking to get into this and we want to put some money into it, and we got all this backwash. Oh, that's a scam. That's not going to work. Blah. Oh, they're just trying to take your money. Blah. This whole thing. And so when we got that first check in, it was, hey, Ricky, we got our first check in. We got this. He's like, yeah. And I go, yeah, we're very excited because it works. It's not a scam. And it just goes to show this is the first step of many steps yet to come. But it's activity. You have to get out there and do it. It's not going to, like I said, it's not going to come to you. You got to go to it. You got to put your foot out there. You got to put a second foot and a third foot. And it was very exciting.
I was out camping with my boys, and I got into the office this morning, and look what's on my desk. Orange County tax collector, and so it's so funny, all the things that people say are scams. It's hilarious to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? That's a scam. It doesn't work, and so I'm just curious because, like I said, I have no idea. So there you go. Here's a check.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
$2,077. And it's hilarious to me that everybody still says it's a scam, it doesn't work. There's a check, Orlando, Florida, from, what did I say, Orange County?
Yep.
For $2,000. Why do you think so many people are so quick to say something new, something different is a scam?
Because they're from the old ways and they're resistant to anything new, and they have blinders on, and they're living their life like this, and that's fine. If that's their life, let them live their life the way they want. We're living it like this, and so it's choice. It's choice in life.
One of the things, maybe Ricky, you talked about commitment a little bit at the beginning, and committing to something completely new and different than what you expected before. Going from an engineer saying, I'm going to be an engineer, to shifting to real estate. Thomas, you talked about wanting to start earlier. Ricky, you're probably at the very beginning of that, right? Talk to me a little bit. You said, I think the quote you made was, I really want to see it through. Talk about that commitment to yourself, because it's not about anybody else at this point. You're not married, right?
I'm not, no.
You don't have any kids?
I do not.
Okay. So this is about Ricky at this point. So talk to me about that commitment to Ricky.
It's like a commission versus a salary job, Here, I want to see how good I can get, I want to see at where in my life where I can get if I put in the time and effort, you know? And I'm only going to get there if I make that commitment. And I could be easy on myself and just let myself coast through life, or I could enter hammer time and really grind and see how successful I can get. And I think that's just so cool. And I think people are afraid of the unknown and what they don't know. So for them to grasp this concept where it almost sounds too good to be true, uh, and they they think it's so easy, like there's no way that this is just out there and anybody can do it. So it's hard for them to wrap their hands around that concept.
You know, I did you just say it's hammer time?
I did, yeah.
I love that. You know what's interesting? I hope you appreciate your dad, because everything that I hear you talk about, you're betting on yourself. You're placing a bet on Ricky's ability. Like that's confidence. That's confidence in yourself. That's a belief in your ability. And in my experience, that comes from somebody else believing in you. That comes from your dad saying at some point in your life, believing in himself and believing in you. That's modeled behavior where your dad says that I can do it. I can take a step outside of my comfort zone, out of what I've been doing. I'm going to bet on myself, but I also believe in you. And he instilled a confidence in you at some point that might take years for you to understand and appreciate and realize. But the confidence that you have to bet in yourself, I'm guessing came from your dad.
You know, I didn't even think about it that way, but it makes so much sense, and you're so right. And I just want to say working in a team is just tenfold better. You know, having someone to count on and work with and go through the whole process where you can bounce questions off. And it being my dad is even better. Building like a family business. And I think it's just so cool just starting out like this.
Well, happy Father's Day to you, Thomas, because
Well, back to you, Brian. You got a family, you have kids. Happy Father's Day for you, more importantly. And thank you very much for all you're doing for Tax Lien and what you're doing and educating the rest of us. I mean, hello?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's such a blessing in my life to see people like the two of you who are doing exactly what you're doing. So let's fast forward some years. Let's go 5 years, 10 years in the future. What does your life look like? Like, what's the goal? Like, tell me about life 5 years, 10 years from now. But also, I'm curious what you think it's going to take to get there.
I would say 5 to 10 years, we have our business running full time. That's our job, you know, and we're making enough money to produce that flow per se. And I can't say if I'll be working a job at that time. I want to say I will be, and kind of discovering real estate. Get a feel for the industry per se, and while I'm doing that, doing these tax liens and investing and getting real world knowledge of real estate and building our portfolio, turning that money over and over again, and eventually being able to maybe even travel and see the world, and while I'm doing that, be able to make money.
Where's the spot that you are the most excited to go in the world?
I've always wanted to go to Iceland. I think Iceland is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seen some pictures, and it looks like a pretty sweet place.
Yeah, I have a friend that just got back from a trip to Iceland, and I'm going to beg him to show me a whole bunch of pictures later on because I hear it's an incredible place. I've never been.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Thomas, what do you think? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what does it look like for you?
It looks like just a bigger marketplace for me in that respect, building a portfolio and growing that portfolio, having more contacts in the industry, As we expand and we grow this business, then getting more contacts, getting more investors out there. I mean, case in point, I play golf once a week with some guys they've made their fortune in various areas, and I'm talking to them, and hey Tom, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing some real estate investment. Why? Oh, okay. I said, hey, if I come across a deal, would you be willing to throw, $500,000, $1 million bucks? And they're like, yeah, talk to me about the deal, And then I talked to a good friend of mine. He's an attorney who was making tons of money. Hey, you know what? Ricky and I are doing some real estate investing, looking for some partnerships. Would you be interested? Oh, yeah. Talk to me. So getting out there and just talking to people and saying, hey, would you be interested in investing with me? Hey. So the more people I can talk to, the more golf I can play, then the better I can build this business. So
yeah, what a fun tax write-off right there.
Amen. That's what Ricky keeps saying. He goes, Dad, are we going to write this off? I'm like, Ricky, anytime we talk about business. I mean, for Father's Day, we went out and we did some gun shooting because we like to shoot guns. And then we went out, went to the golf course, and then we went out to dinner. And along the way, we're talking about tax liens. So guess what? I have to write that off. That's part of the business. And so one of my objectives is to have a business meeting at Pebble Beach where we can go up there and maybe play some golf and have a business meeting and anyways, stuff like that. So.
Well, I don't want to invite myself, but I would love to have a business meeting with you at Pebble Beach.
We may have to seek your advice along the ways, and we might have to fly you out and do that. You never know.
Well, let's do it. Well, gentlemen, I'm so excited to see the progression of your business and your life. It's so fun for me to see people at the very beginning of their journey, the very first couple tax liens, because you've said so many things, and I've written a whole bunch of notes because I love going back over these and watching these videos later. But it's so incredible to see, I'm glad that we have this video, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to look at this video and you are going to realize how much different and how much bigger your dreams and your beliefs become. That after 5 years of investing, you're going to look and realize, man, I didn't even realize or think where I am was even possible. I look back, Ricky, when I was your age, I was just starting college, same thing. I look back at my life at 19, 20, 21, as I was just becoming an entrepreneur and saying, man, what I thought I was going to become and what I thought I was going to do with my life is completely different, 180 degrees different from where I am. And so many things just clicked. I look back at the beginning of my entrepreneur journey, and things that seemed, I'll say irrelevant, but maybe small little choices, small little actions that I made at the very beginning that just shifted my trajectory just a little bit. At the time, didn't seem that big, but in retrospect, those early decisions made all the change in the world. So lastly, Ricky, most of the people that watch our content, our videos that come to our class, you realize you're at the young end of that spectrum. We don't get a lot of teenagers coming through our classes and our social media, frankly. But what would you say, one, to people that are your age, that are thinking about starting an investing career or a business at 19, but also two, what would you say to the parents who have kids that are your age that are thinking or maybe not thinking about bringing their kids along? It's a two-parter there for you, Ricky.
All right. Let's see. The people my age, I would tell them it doesn't have to be tax liens if that doesn't interest you, but just try something new. Take a risk, because without risk, there is no reward. So you're going to have to take a risk. Or you could stay in your comfort zone, but you're never going to go anywhere. You're never going to grow. And to the parents who are thinking about bringing their kids along, I would tell them, imagine what could be, and just imagine the journey you could go down, and how much fun it could be, and how educational it could be, and just think about how it could benefit your kid in the future, and just what you could accomplish.
Ricky, amen. I got nothing else. That's about as good of a mic drop as anybody could ever have. So thank you. Appreciate the time with you two gentlemen today. Appreciate the words of wisdom and the insight and the retrospection and introspection. So thank you both so much. Look forward to seeing you both very, very soon.
Same here, Brian. Thank you very much for all you do for us out there as well.
What an incredible 40 minutes. It was so fun to ask questions to both of them and hear their answers. And one of the things that I took away, I wrote down a whole bunch of notes. I'm gonna watch this video again because one of the things that stuck out to me was that support system, how much they loved each other, how much they're supportive of each other, and how beneficial that's gonna be for their business. So if you have a support person, if you have somebody on your team that is helping you and pushing you along, give them a big hug, tell them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them. If you don't, if you're looking and searching for somebody to help, to pull you along, stay here, stay with Tax Lien Code, join our community, jump in because there's so many incredible people inside of Tax Lien Code, both our team internally that want you to be successful, but also, and maybe more importantly, the other students, the other investors that are joining, that are along for the ride, that are investing, that want you to be successful. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did. I love all the support, all the people that are trying to pull other investors along. Thanks for watching.